A good
Good
yard.
luck.
Are you recording,
A
Rabbi?
good yard. Okay, so now, Misha Bo B'derech, you're coming on the way, and it's dark. It's going to be dark. You recognize a distinct place. And you state, Shvisi Tachtav. I want my Shvisa to be underneath that tree or that fence. Loya Maklum, because you didn't designate an area. You said a tree or a fence, but not the place on the tree or the place on the fence. However, if he says Shvisasi Bi'ikarai, I want my Shvisa to be in the trunk of the tree, so now he's giving a Ganoi area, then Mahalech Mimakam Raglov, Biat Ikroi Al Payimama. He's able to walk from the place he's holding up until that Ikar, which again has to be within 2,000 Amis, and then be able to go from that tree trunk all the way to wherever he wants to go, and that would to his house. So you would gain Nimsa Mahalach Mishachashecha from Ben Hashmashos, you're able to walk Arbas Alofim Amma. You're able to go ahead and walk 4,000 Amas. So we have Machloikus now. On the first case, where he didn't go ahead and pick a particular spot, and he said, I want my thing is loy oma klum. When it says loy oma klum, what does that mean? I can tell you loy oma klum, and he gets up to the tree, or I can say loy oma klum, and he's basically, majorly, just in a bad way. It's after Yom Kippur. I don't want to use the word I was going to use, but basically he's in a bad way. Why? If you're in a place over here and you say you want to be in another place and you can't get to the other place, so you're stating the place I'm in, I don't want to be my shvisa. So I don't get 2,000 amis from where I'm standing because I want my shvisa to be in another place. But since I didn't go ahead and designate exactly where that other place is, then I don't get it either. So according to that daya, you have 4 amis from where you're standing, and that's it. That's a tough deal. So there's 2 possible ways to view this, as we'll see in the Gemara. My lo yom klum, as I state, says the Gemara, when it says lo yom klum, what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? So Amar Rav, lo yom klum kol ikar. He doesn't get anything. The afilu l'tachtov shel ilan lo matzi azol. He can't even go underneath the tree. Look at Rashi, guys. Lo yom klum kol ikar. Lo yom klum kol ikar, says Rashi. For lo yazuz mimkomo. Wherever he is, he cannot move. Shahari b'makam raglov ein shvisa. The place where he's at, he doesn't have shvisa. Shari akadaitoi. He already said, I don't want to be here. Beliboy from and his mind, mikan from this place. And the tachasa ilan nami loikana shvisa. Why? The holosayan, because he didn't go ahead and designate a place. So according to Rav, guys, he's really in a bad way, right? He gave up his place, and the place he wanted to go to, he can't get to, so he's stuck. He has no tchum whatsoever. That's Rav. Clear? Next case. Ushmul Amar, what does Shmuel say? Lo yamar klum lebeisai. He doesn't have to his house. Again, his house is at least 4,000 amas away. He can't get home. Aval the tachtov shel ilan matzi azal, to the place underneath the tree that he could go to, right? And then vinase tachtov shel ilan chamer gomo, and then underneath the tree becomes the infamous donkey camel. What does that mean? Balimdoi minat safain moidedin loy minadarim, minat safain moidedin loy minadarim. In other words, if the tree, I don't know if I have this on the chart. Let me see if I have this. I worked getting this thing on. I don't think he has it here. The Chamer Gamo. Oh, did I just lose that? No, I'm nuts. I just lost it, I think. No, I got it back. Okay. Guys, look at this picture. If he doesn't designate the area of the tree, right? So watch. He's either over here or over there. So he's, in other words, so he's like a chamer gomel. He's going this way and that way. If he doesn't designate, he might end up over here and he can't go here. If he goes over here, he's not able to go back over here. So that might be a good illustration of the chamer gomel of Shmuel. The main thing is you have machloikis between Rav and Shmuel. According to Rav, you have nothing. You don't even have the area that you have. And according to Shmuel, you do get the tree, but you don't get what you wanted to go to your ass. Omar Rabba, Omar Aleph. My time with the Rav, what's the reason of Rav that you if you say the tree, you don't get anything? Is Mishum Delay Messiah Asrei. You didn't designate a spot. You didn't designate a spot. The Ikka, the army, others say, Omar Rabba, Halt Cup, my time of the Rav, Mishum Tikasavar, Kol She'enoi Bezeh Achazeh, Afil B'Vasachas Enoi. Sugya we had in two places, anything that you can't do one after the other, then if you do it at once, it doesn't happen if you do it at once. What does that mean? If he would have designated 4 Amos, guys, could he then change and designate another 4 Amos? In other words, I wanted my shvisa to be here. You don't get a second chance. Underneath this tree, how much does he get? 4 Amos. Remember, he's koine shvisa, he gets 4 Amos. Kol she'ena b'zeh achazeh. If he got 4 Amos in the south, he couldn't get 4 Amos in the north. If he got 4 Amos in the north, then he couldn't get 4 Amos in the south. Anything that you can't do that one after the other, you can't do simultaneously. And therefore, when I said I want my shvisa to be underneath the tree, therefore you don't get anything. I'll say it one more time. Rav is saying the rule. If I can't get something one after the other, then I can't get it simultaneously, even if I don't do it one after the other. So what do I want to do over here? I want to acquire shvisa. I want to get my shvisa underneath the tree. That's all I want. If I said I want my shvisa to be in the north, good. You get shvisa in the north, and then you couldn't get shvisa in the south. If I said I wanted my shvisa to be in the south, then I could get shvisa in the north afterwards. Therefore, if I say it simultaneously, I want my shvisa to be south-north, I get nothing. Since I can't do one after the other, I can't get it at once. So there's 2 possibilities in Rav why you get nothing. 1, A, because you did not designate a spot, or 2, because a yisoid, anything that you can't get one after the other, you can't even get if you do it at the same time. So since I can't get one shvisa after another shvisa, I can't get it at the same time. Since I can't get north and then south, I can't get north-south at the same time. The Gemara now digresses to attack that concept. Okay? The Gemara digresses. We're going to bring in 3 places to ask. 1 from Meiser, 2 from Meiser Behema, and 3 from a covered Taida. Okay, let's do it outside. Meiser. I have a crop. I separate a tenth. Let's say I have 51 bushels. I take 1 bushel, I separate it, and that's now going to be Truma Gedolah. I separate 1 bushel. I now have 50. So how much is Meiser? 5. I take 10%. I take 5 bushels. That's my Meiser. I went ahead and I took 10. Now Meiser is an exact amount. Now, fellas, can I take Meiser after Meiser? No, right? I can't take Meiser after Meiser, right? So therefore, if I do it at the same time, it should not work. According to our Yesod that we're saying now, anything that one after the other doesn't work, if you do it together, it doesn't work. So therefore, I'm taking 2 Meisers at the same time. I'm taking 10 instead of 5. Now, there's an opinion that it is the other 40 are upgeshate. The 40 are separate. According to your rule, you should not be able to do this. It should be, the whole thing should be unmeised. It should be untied. simply because since I can't do it one after the other, I can't do it simultaneously. Yet we see it's considered Meiser. Answers the Gemara, Meiser is a little funny. If I would say a kernel, half the kernel's Meiser, it would work. In other words, it's a Yecholios to go ahead and say half a kernel is Meiser. So therefore, I'm saying, it's like when I said 10, it's like I'm saying 5 is Meiser and 5 is not. Masha'en came by Tchumin, you can't say half 2 should be 2. You need a Chalos of 4. Memela, it's not a question on my side. Says the Gemara inside. Let's see it. Again, what's our rule? The reason why underneath the tree you're not kaina, since you can't be kaina shvisa one after the other, I can't be kaina shvisa simultaneously. Okay, now, if, I jumped the gun. The Gemara wants to know what's the difference between Rav's two opinions, whether you didn't designate a specific place or you can't do one after the other. Might be nayu, it could be nayu, likni leiba arba amais migoy shmoina. I want to be arba amais in the middle of 4. I want arba amais to be kind of in the middle of 8. Arba amais migoy shmoina. I still don't know where those 4 amas are, guys. Out of the 8 amas, guys, we're going to see in the Amid base that the tree is 8 amas. If the underneath the tree is 8 amas, and I say I want 4 of them to be my shvisa, I didn't say which 4 it is. I still have the same problem. So therefore, you won't be kaina. But the Mandiyama says 4 among 8. Then that's not bezachazeh. There you are. In that case, kol shem bezachazeh. I feel of masachas einoi. Haika arba amis tami. It's like your mama set aside arba amis, so it's not a problem. That you would be kaina. That would be kaina shvisa. The hach arba amis come. I could say arba amis. Gufa going over the Gemara. Amar Rabbi kol davar sheni bezachazeh. Anything that you can't do simultaneously, one after the other. I feel b'vasachas, even simultaneously doesn't work. Einoi. Eisrei abayel Rabba hamar beba maisrois. You increased maisrois. You went ahead and took off 10 in our scenario. You took off 10 bushels instead of 5. Pei roisav mitukanim. The other 40 are mitukin and you could eat them. Umaisroisav mukukalim. However, the 10 that I took off as maisa is problematic because only 5 of them are maisa and the other one is tevel. Amai, why are they all mitukin? Lema, why don't we say kol she'ina b'zachazeh, anything that you can't do one after the other, and I cannot take maisa off after maisa. I feel b'vachsachas einoi. Even if you do it simultaneously, it should not work. So since I can't take maisa after maisa, when I took 10 simultaneously, it should not be good. Yeah, we see it is good. And for the Gemara, shiny maisa. Maisa is different. It's a different, unique case. The isya lechatzoyin. Because you can go ahead and make hair maisa halves. What does that mean? The Amar Tagdish Palga Tchitasa. Half of my chita should be my kernel should be Kaidish, Hacha, it's Kaidish. And therefore, since that's Kaidish, you see that there's a special loophole that says it's Kaina. So the rule of Kol Shein B'Zachazeh, Afil B'Zachazeh is true. By Maisa, there's a loophole since you can Mekadesh. So I had this 10. I was Mekadesh 5. Those 5, once that 5 is Kaidesh, good, I can't eat the 10, but it helps the other 40 is now considered upkashed. It's untied because of the special law, this loophole of 5 versus 10. Guys, we're good? Any questions? Everyone's good? Okay. Next idea. Maisa Behema. Gemara outside. Maisa Behema. Every year you put the animals a few times a year in the shed, in the corral. 10th them out, 10th animal, you take a red paint, you stick it on, you hit the animal. That animal's Kodesh Maisa Behema. You bring it to Yerushalayim. If it doesn't have a mum, you eat it. You're home free. You're good. It's a carbon. You eat it as a carbon. Can I go ahead and do Maisa after Maisa? If I go after 110, could I call it another 110? Doesn't work, right? That's the same thing as taking off Maisa a second time. It doesn't work. So it's Eina B'Zachazeh. What happens if they come out the same time and I call them Maisa? 2 animals come out simultaneously and I call them both 10. According to the rule of thumb, neither one should be Maisa. Why? Since you can't take Maisa off after Maisa, I feel B'Vasachas should not work. So too over here, 2 come out at the same time, I say 10. The halacha is, it's 10 and 11 mixed together. 10 is a Maisa Behema, 11 is a Shlamim, and the nafkamin is in halacha, linyan kachim, whether you need Tnufa or a mum falls into it. We're not going to discuss the kachim aspects tonight. just for all intents and purposes, you see there's a chalos of kedusha. Frag the Gemara, how could there be a chalos of kedusha since you can't take off one after the other? Kol she'eino b'zeh hazeh, afilu b'vas achas einoi. It should not be kodesh at the same time. Yet it is, because one is kodesh 11. And for the Gemara, listen to this, guys. There's a special Gezeres HaKosev. The guys who've been through the daf know this cold. I got 3 animals. I mistakenly call number 9, 10. I say, whoops. And then I call number 10, 9. And then I call number 11, 10. So you have 3 10s. A 9 that you call 10, the real 10 that you call 9, and 11 that you call 10. The halacha is that they're all kodesh. So the Gemara says, since there's a special halacha there that they're all kodesh, that's why when you call 10 and 2 10s at the same time, it's also kodesh. But lemaisa kol shebeinu zeh einu b'vasachas. The rule still works. So we had a loophole by Maisa after Maisa. We have a loophole by Maisa Behema. Since we have this interesting halacha of 9, 10, 11, we'll go ahead and say the same thing by we call 10 and 11 at the same time. Okay, hang on one second. Let's see it inside. Says the Gemara.
Laser, can I just ask you a side question? On the Meiser Behema, if you skip 10 and just call 11, 10, what's the halacha with that 11th one?
If you skip 10 and call 11, 10, I don't know. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
The reason I'm asking is because by us over here, you have a choice. Zach or Zach, because it could be a choice of one of each one. By Meiser Behema, you don't have a choice really. You have to do the 10th one. If you miss it, that's a separate halacha. I'm
not sure of your question.
There's no Zach or Zeh by Meiser Behema. That's what I'm trying to.
You know why there's no Zach or Zeh Meiser Behema? Because if you call 2 10s one after the other, it doesn't work. That's what it means. If I call number 10, 10 and number 11, 10, it doesn't work.
They're both not, there's not, but.
If I call, again, the only way number 11 is kodesh is if I called number 10, 10, 9, and then I call 11, 10. Okay. But the other one is hegdish b'tois, may it doesn't work.
Okay.
Says the Gemara. Says V'hari Maisa Behema, the less lechatzayin. By Maisa Behema, you don't have this waiver like you do by Maisa of Tfua. V'Amar Rava, Yatzu Shnayim Vasiri, 2 come out simultaneously. The Koran Asiri, and you call them both 10. So we call them Koran Asiri. Then Asiri v'Achad Asar Murav Zebezeh. You have a lacha of Maisa Behema and a Shlomim mixed together. It's a Shlomim. Now, why should it be a Shlomim? Since it's not Bezeh Chazeh, they both should not work. It says more shiny Maisa Behema, the issue Bezeh Chazeh B'tois. Because there is a scenario of Bezeh Chazeh B'tois. What's that scenario? Here's the scenario. Koran L'Tashi Asiri, I call number 9, 10, Ula Asiri Tashi, and I say, and I make a mistake, and then I call 10, 9. Ula Achad Asa Asiri, and I call number 11, 10. So guys, number 9 I mistakenly called 10. Number 10 I mistakenly called 9, but it is 10. And number 11 I called 10. Shloshna Mikudashin, they're all Kodesh. So since they're all Kodesh, therefore you have a special halacha. The final attempt to go ahead and disprove is by the carbon taida. The halacha is the carbon taida is accompanied with 40 chalas and rekikin and matzos. 30 of them are not chametz and 10 are chametz. Let's say you go ahead and you would say amagdish 40 and then amagdish another 40. It won't work. That's bezeh chazeh, guys. Let's say I put aside 80 and I bring a carbon. So the halacha should be that since bezeh chazeh 40 after 40 doesn't work, the 80 also shouldn't work. Yet if Chizkiah holds, if you makdish 80 and you bring the carbon, 40 of them are kodesh. Why are those 40 kodesh? Kol shebein bezeh chazeh, anything that you can't do one after the other, afilu b'vasachas shouldn't work. The lesser b'tois, a toida can't be bor b'tois, meaning the one after the other, the 40 after 40. The lesser bezeh chazeh. Vidmar. Toida shenishchata al shmoinim chalois. A toida that was brought what? On 40 chalois. Chizki Amar Kitshu Allah Mem Mitat Shmoinim 40 Hakadosh. Fellas, why should that be? Since I can't be Magdish 40 after 40, I should not be able to go ahead, Rod, and we have to Ezra Miller. He just checked out. His wife showed up on the screen and he checked out. There you go. Not that quick, Ezra Miller. I still remember your wife. She came for an interview. I missed her. I don't forget that quick. I don't like losing great girls. Anyway, I'm glad you ended up with her. Anyway, says the Gemara, guys. So it's very big when the Rebbe has a hard drive. For shtus. Okay, guys, good. One more time. 80, no good, right? 40, no good. 80, I mark this 80. I bring the carbon. Says Kiski 40 out of 80. Why should 40 out of 80 be good? Since you couldn't bring 40, why should that be good? Ella, it must be that the rule is not ironclad. It says it's not. And for the Gemara, Ha'itmar Allah, Omar Rav Zera or Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Hakol Moedim, Machloikis between Rabbi Yochanan and Chizkiah is Heichadama Liktashu Ba'arbayim B'Tach Shmoinim Dekachi. You made a condition, guys. You separated 80 and you said, listen, 40 should be good. Lo Yikakshu. Arbayim, Lo Yikakshu al Arbayim. 40 are going to be good. Elam Kain Kitchu Shmoinim, Kuliyam Le Pligi Lo Kitchu. If you said 80 HaKadosh, doesn't work. Ki Pligi B'Stama. You separate 80 and you bought Stam. Masa B'Lachrayas Kamachavin, and therefore it's good. Chizkiah holds you wanted it for Achrayas. In other words, I bought 80 just in case 40 got messed up. And I bought them about Tanai, Isnahu, and he made a condition. Umasa L'Karban Gadol Kamachavin. And one said, no, I wanted to bring an extra carbon, a bigger carbon, and that doesn't work. The bottom line is this does not have to do with the whole sugya of being one after the other. Right? Look at the top Rashi. You can't bring 80. And he never said 40 should be Kaidish. When you kind of Shvisa, there's no Achrayas over there. He wanted all four. They ain't Shvisa, Elibedalid. And we don't say, oh, listen, there's 8 Amas underneath the tree, four of them should be mine. It doesn't work. Okay, so now we just concluded the sugya, guys, of a digression of kol sheba v'zachazeh afil v'asachas einoi. In other words, the second reason for Rav. So let's go back to the sugya. Let's go back to Eruvin. You notice a tree that's within your 2,000 amas of you. It's also within 2,000 amas of your house, and you go ahead and you say, I want to be kind of shvisa underneath the tree. Says Rav, lo yomar klum, you get nothing. Lo yomar klum, you get nothing. Amar Abaya, lo yishon, you get nothing. Ela be'ilon shetachtav yud beis ama. A tree that you have underneath the tree, a total of yud beis ama. You have yud beis ama underneath that tree. Okay, what do you got over here? Look at the tree, guys. You have 12 underneath the tree. So you're away, and you go ahead and you say, is it this part, or this part? Since you don't know which part, correct? Therefore, it's not good. That's where Rav says you get nothing. Since there's 12 amas underneath the tree, and those 12 amas could be this, or this, you get nothing. What about, fellas, if underneath the tree, oh no. What about if underneath the tree you have, let me see. Here you go. Underneath the tree you have 11 amas, 4, 4, and 4. So now, when he said, I want to be kind of shvisa underneath the tree, says Abaya, clearly this has got to be part of the cheshbon, because of the 4 amas here, they overlap with that. So it must be, he's designating the middle. Of course, you need the middle for these two. Over here, there's 3 possibilities, 1, 2, or 3. Since there's 3 possibilities by the 12, lo yomar klum. Says Abaya, however, even if he doesn't say, I want to be kind of shvisa on the trunk of the tree, he says, I want to be kind of shvisa under the tree. If there's 11 amas underneath the tree, this 4 has to have shaykhs to this side and that side. Therefore, Abaya wants to suggest you be kind of shvisa. Says the Gemara, what kind of raya? Good, the middle has shaykhs to this, but does he mean this side now? Or does he mean this side? In other words, over here, there were 3 choices. Over here, all you've done is centered down to 2 choices. This has to be one of them, the middle. But does the middle go with this one? Or does the middle go with that one? Therefore, this also doesn't work. Therefore, this also doesn't work. What would work? L'chora, if you have 7. If you have 7. If you have 8, therefore, you don't know if it means this one or this one. You're not kind of shvisa leyama klum. Over here, guys, what happens if you have 7? So now, al karchach, you mean the middle of the tree, because this one needs the middle of the tree and this one needs the middle of the tree. Therefore, you have no more choices left. So in this scenario, if there's 7 amas underneath the tree, even according to Rav, you would be kind of shvisa. Guys, you get that?
How is the 7 different? How is the 7 different than the 11? I don't get that.
11, you had 2 other choices. Good, the middle one had shaykhs to both sides, but when he was kind of shvisa, did he mean the left side or the right side? You had 2 choices, Yehuda, this way or that way. So therefore, since you didn't know which way to go, you're not kind of shvisa. By the 7, there's only one choice. The 7.
Okay.
You can go both ways, right? Good.
Yeah.
No, here's where you're stuck. You're stuck that by the 11, both sides needed the middle, right? You need the middle. But even if you need the middle, which side did he choose? Did he choose the left or the right? Masha'en came by the 7. There was only one choice. Got it? Steve, what was your question?
No, I was going to ask you why, if both 4 amos needed the tree trunk, isn't it 6? But it's 6 plus the one that they share. I got it.
Okay, guys, you're good. Geschmack, yeah. A picture tells 1,000 words or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, let's see it inside. Says the Gemara, Amar Abaya, Loi Shana, we did not learn like Rav that you're not kind of shvisa ela be'ilan by an ilan shetachtav yud beis amma. That underneath it is 11 is 12 amas. Therefore, there's 3 choices, 4, 4, and 4. It doesn't work. Ava be'ilan she'ein tachtav yud beis amma. Let's say, for example, 11. Hari miktzas beisay nikar. Part of his house, part of the shvisa to his house is nikar. The middle area. Maskav la Rav Huna b'reider Rav Yeshua. Mimai de ba'arboy mitziyasa komisayim. How do you know why? He's messiahing with the middle ones. Dilma ba'arba da hagisa ba'har g'dagisa. Maybe he was messiahing this side or that side. Since you have this side or that side, you don't have that's not a makam esuyim, right? Once you have 2 choices, it's not. You don't know which one it is. Once you don't know which one it is, you're not kind of shvisa. Ela Amar Rav Huna b'reider Yeshua. Here's the pshat. Lo shanu, that you're not kind of shvisa. El be'ilan shetachtav ches amis. Now you have 2 choices, 1 4 or the other 4. Ava be'ilan shetachtav zayin amos 7. Hari miktzas beisay nikah, because you had to go ahead and take into account the trunk of the tree, right? Because the trunk of the tree has shaykhs to both to that side, and therefore what? It would work. So therefore, we're zetzing on our Mishnah. There's 8 amas underneath the tree. Okay. Tanya Kavasi the Rav, Tanya Kavasi the Shmuel. Tanya Kavasi the Rav. Okay, guys, what does Rav hold? Fellas, if you're learning Gemara and you say you have a brisa that's a raya to so, you better know what so says, or else you're just going to be reading Hebrew words. So let's go over what so says. What does Rav say? He says, if you don't know underneath the tree where you are, you're stuck. Remember, you're stuck totally, guys. Not only don't you get underneath the tree, but even where you are, you are oikel, you gave that up. So you're stuck in your spot. We're going to bring a brisa that's a raya to that, okay? It's a long-winded brisa. I don't know how, Baruch Hashem is good to me. I figured it out. It's a long-winded brisa. The raya is from the end. Says the Gemara. Let's see. Let's see the brisa. Tanya Kavasi the Rav, that you stuck. Tanya Kavasi the Shmuel. Tanya Kavasi the Rav. Misha ba b'derech. V'chosh koloi. You're going along the way, and it gets dark. V'hoya maker ilon oigeder. And you recognize what? This is the din of the Mishnah. You maka an ilon or a geder, or a fence, a stone fence. V'ama, you say, shvisvasi tachtov. I want my shvisa to be underneath the tree. Layam aklum. You didn't say anything. Avalim amar shvisasi b'makam ploni. I want my shvisa to be in a certain spot. Guys, this is not the tree. A certain spot. Mahalech at shemagia lo'oso makom. You can go ahead. If that's within 2,000 amas, you can get to that certain spot. Fellas, let's say that certain spot is a fenced-in area, a rishus hayachid. So we learned earlier the shita of Rabbi Gamliel. If you're on a boat, if you're in a pen, then you get 4 amas. You would get the whole, you don't get 4 amas, you get the whole area. So continuing along that vein. I got stuck over here. I thought it was speaking about the tree. Forget the tree. I recognize an area. I recognize an ice skating rink, okay? I'm going and I recognize a hockey rink. And now I go ahead. I get to the hockey ring. Mahalech es kuloi. I can walk the whole length of the hockey ring. And 2,000 amas from the hockey ring. In other words, I'm kind of shvisa in a makom that was surrounded with a wall for dira. I get the whole makom adira. So here I'm going to even get more than 4,000 amas. When do we say that the hockey rink you would be able to walk the whole length of the hockey rink? It's b'makom hametsuyin, a place that has walls to it. It's a designated spot. Kigoin sheshavas betel shu gavoya yutfachim. That's 2 tfachim. V'hu midal amis v'ad beis asayim. It goes from Dalet Amis until the infamous Beis Asayim, that 5,000 square Amis. V'chein bika shehi umuka yud. V'hi midal Amis v'ad Beis Asayim. Aval b'makam she'ein mesuyim, meaning it's not hukaf l'dira. Then ein loy ela Dalet Amis. You would have only Dalet Amis and plus 2,000 from there. In other words, if the hockey rink did not have walls around it, you would get just 4 amis and 2,000. You won't be able to walk the whole length of the hockey rink. You'd walk 2,000 amis to where you kind of shvisa, and you get from that, you be kind of shvisa there, and that area you get 4,000 amis, 2,000 amis from that area. 2,000 amis from that area. So let's say I'm walking along, I come to this place, I'm kind of shvisa here, and this is surrounded with walls. My Al-Payim Amma will begin from here. Even this thing could be 5,000 square feet. I can get this whole area. Why? Because it's surrounded with walls. If it's not surrounded with walls, then it's a regular classic place. I'm Koine Shvisa here. I would get 4 Amis plus 2,000. Okay. So far, no Raya to Rav. So far, no Raya to Rav. So far, no Raya to Rav. Continues the Gemara. B'medor mamurim, b'medor k'shesayim dalet amis sheka. One second, where am I? No, hayashnayim. You have 2 people walking along. Echad makir v'echad sheina makir. One guy recognizes the rink, the other person doesn't know the rink. Zeh sheina makir. My shvisas of the makir. I can go over, give it over to you. V'makir amish shvisasim v'kamploni. I'll either be from the hockey rink or from the tree. In other words, I recognize the place that's within 2,000 amis. I know the place. Jump on my back and come along for the ride. You don't know about it, come along. Totally different din, nothing to do with anything. Here's our raya. Now, when do we say that the place, that the place, that the hockey rink without the wall around it, Kishimisayim, that's only dafka, it has a wall around it. Dalet amis shekava. Avaloy sayim dalet amis Shekava lo yazuzum imkomo. If you were a Messiah, because you didn't designate the Dalet Amis, if you didn't know that hockey rink at all, then lo yazuzum imkomo, you can't move from your spot. Why? Because the halacha is like Rav. This is the right of Rav, guys. Okay, 3 scenarios. Watch. I recognize the hockey rink and there's walls around it. Then I get the whole hockey rink. I recognize the hockey rink, there's no walls around it. Then you get Dalet Amis. I don't recognize the hockey rink at all, and I say I want my shvisa to be over there. That's the same exact case as I want my shvisa to be underneath the tree without designating a spot underneath the tree. What does Rav say? You're stuck. You have a brisa, a Tana, saying if you don't recognize the spot and you designate it, you gave up your shvisa where you're standing and you're stuck. That's a raya to Rav. Does anyone not understand that? I spoke a lot. Is anyone lost? Anyone brave enough to say, Rabbi, can you say that again? No? Okay. What? Heshi?
You were that good the first time.
Heshi? Hesh, I'm not muted. I'm not. You want me to say it again, Heshi?
It's on video.
Okay, what's Rav's din? This brisa is Rav. I just used the hockey rink versus a tree. That's all I did, right? I transferred the guys the hockey rink versus a tree. That's all I did. What does Rav say? If you go and say, I want my shvisa to be underneath the tree, but you don't designate an area under the tree, you gave up your shvisa where you are. You weren't kind of shvisa where you're going to. You're stuck. So the brisa says the same thing. When do we say that you get Dalet Amis from the place you're going to? Is if you know where you're going to. If I don't know where I'm going to, if the hockey rink is not a place I recognize and I want to be there, you can't move. That's exactly the same word as Rav. Now l'chor it's a kasha on Shmuel, right? L'chor it's a kasha on Shmuel, right? So Shmuel is going to say, here's what it's talking about. Let's bring this up. Shmuel is going to say, this is what it's talking about. I got to make it smaller so you could see it. I think we just lost that Eliezer's Stern. Yeah. This is Shmuel.
He made it home. He's switching over to his computer.
I understand. I understand. You're over here. It's going to be 2004. So if you can get to the other side of the tree, you'd lose your place. Shmuel's going to set sign where the place you are till here that you may lose your 4 amas. So therefore, he says you could walk up to there, but you could lose your 4 amas. Let's see what he says. He says it inside. Says the Gemara. Look inside. Leimet avit yuf to the Shmuel. Amlach Shmuel hachamay askin on kigoin the ikam mi makam raglov the ad ikroi trey alfei varboy gamidi. It's from the place of his feet till where this is going, 2004. The mukmisla beidich kisa, if he sets his shvisa up over here by the aleph, the ilon, kamlei levami tutay. He's going to be outside his tchum. So therefore, that's what it means that isayim dalet amis matzi azel. If he picks dalet amis, he's able to go. Eloi matzi azel. Pirish. There's 2 possibilities for him, Shmuel, underneath the tree. One that's a good Eruv, one that's not a good Eruv. If he picks the Eruv, he can move. If he doesn't pick the Eruv, he can't move. So when the brisa says he can't move, it's because he didn't pick the spot. That's exact right spot. And that would be the way Shmuel will answer up Rav. That's the way Shmuel will answer up Rav. Tanikava say to Shmuel, we have a brisa that's a raya to Shmuel. We have a brisa that's a raya to Shmuel. What's the brisa? Let's look at the picture. That's the picture, and then it'll become very clear. It's Tavi here l'shtei ruchos. He's going ahead, and he thinks he can make an Eruv in this direction and an Eruv in this direction. So he makes from here to here. You have an area, he only can move 1,000. He's stuck now. In other words, he loses the 1,000 from here, he loses the 1,000 from here, he goes over here. Now, why do you have, this price says, in other words, you take into account one of the directions that he went in. According to Rav, since you don't, the place you're designating, you shouldn't have anything. Again, he puts an Eruv over here and an Eruv over there. That's the same thing as saying, I want my Eruv to be under this place on the tree, under this place on the tree. According to Rav, that doesn't work. Yet according to this, it's going to work to the extent that you lose. So you see that it does work. Kasha on Rav. Then it just concludes, if it's exactly over here, he loses everything. Exactly over here, he loses everything. So this is going to be a kasha on Rav. Like Rav, why should anything work, guys, if you don't know where you're going? Tanya Kabas say to Shmuel, we have a brayso that's a raya to Shmuel. He went ahead, he made a mistake, and he made an error in two directions. He thought Shamar v'lei l'shtei ruchos. You know, words like this is not a breira shaila, guys. He says, I want to use both. It's not a shaila breira that he says Huvra Dom Mafreya where he wants his area to be. He thinks you can make two, one over here and one over there. He'll go visit his Zaidi to the north, and he'll go visit his grandma to the west, or wherever, you know. He's going to multi-directional. That's a mistake. Now, according to Rav, no Erev should work, because again, he did not designate a specific space. So the kashas in that case. Now it just continues. He tells his avodim, go make an Erev, one goes to the north, one goes to the south. Mahalich, so therefore, Lidora Mahalich L'Tzafon Ke'eruvai, from the south he can carry it to the north. Ke'eruva like his Erev, Lidorim Ke'eruva L'Tzafon. Meaning they set it up at the 1,000 mark, they lose 1,000. They mitzi alav es atchum, and if they go ahead and they both go to the both extremes, 2,000, 2,000, lo yazizum komo, he can't move from his place. Lema, let us say from the Reisha, Tabitiyuf to the Rav. Let's say the ratio is an upshlag on Rav. Because Rav says if you designate a spot and the Erev doesn't take hold, you lost your Shvisa. So since this guy wanted to be to the south or the north, and he's Megali, he doesn't want his Shvisa to be here, he should be stuck. Yet he gets 1,000 amas. Guys, one more time. What's Rav's din? Once you show you don't want your Erev to take place, you want it to be able to go underneath this tree, and it doesn't work underneath this tree, you gave up your spot. This person's giving up his spot. He wants his area to be the south or the north. So the halacha should be, he shouldn't be able to move. Yet the Brisa, Atana, says he still gets 1,000 amis. You see, he didn't lose his Erev, correct? Kash on Rav. Leimatavitiv to the Rav. After the Gemara, Rav Tanalu Pali. On rare occasions, the Gemara will say, Rav has the status of a Tana, and he argues. So again, Yotzimit Varenu, we saw this evening a very interesting halacha that a person goes ahead and designates a spot underneath the tree. If he doesn't know the spot exactly, he loses both. According to Rabbi, he loses everything. According to Shmuel, he would lose, he wanted to go to his house, he won't be able to do that, but he would lose underneath the tree. You don't need a designated spot. Okay. Bez Hashem, tomorrow evening, I guess we'll be back in Shul at 8 o'clock and on Zoom at 8 o'clock. Everyone should have a good Kibben Shiur, as they're good.